Welcome back to Laugh Through It All. I'm your host, Tracy. Come join me as I talk to Tiffany, mom of three, and how she beat the odds as a teen mom and raised three amazing children. Tell me a little bit about your life before you had kids.
Hmm. I was young before Cameron. I got pregnant at 16,
Okay.
had him at 17. So before kids, I feel like I don't even remember. I was in high school when I got pregnant. It's silly to say now, and I tell people now because I feel like girls probably do. I mean, I did. I told myself it was going to go away, which
Right.
how crazy that is to even think.
Mm-hmm.
But I really thought like I was gonna wake up and it was gonna go away and I was gonna be okay. I didn't tell my mom I was pregnant.
Yeah.
I hid it, which was terrible. My best friend actually went and told my mom.
Oh, no kidding.
And yeah, my mom sent my sister away for the weekend and she sat me down on the couch and she said, I know. And she was very upset because she was a teen mom. So she had
Right.
me at 15 and then I had Cameron. So my main goal in raising them was I want to break the cycle. Yeah. Getting Cameron and Riley to where they're at. I got one more to go.
Yes.
The scariest one probably. um, but before kids, it was just I was a high school kid. I had friends and went to football games and
So did
then my life
once you
changed.
so you were 16 when you got pregnant with Cameron. So what did your school life look like after you had him?
Thankfully, his dad and my mom would work it out a schedule to where I finished school on time. I did have to do one night class because I was only out of school for 2 weeks when I had him because it was right before Christmas break. So the teacher failed me though because I was out of school for 2 weeks.
Oh my.
Yeah, so one teacher failed me. So I had to do night school, but I brought him with me. The teacher was so great that did night school. I brought him with me. But my mom and his dad would work it out and I graduated on time. So school was just I went to school, came home and I was a mom.
So it was just like a normal school. And what about friends? Like how did they
I
act when
lost
you lost a lot of them?
I lost a lot of them. My best friend that did tell my mom that I was pregnant, we didn't talk. She was, going to school and living a teenage life. We didn't talk for a lot of years. We've now reconnected and she regrets it and she apologizes, but I get it. I
Sure.
understand. But I lost a lot of friends. I had friends that would come and be like, come on, get out of the house, come to the football game. And I'd be pregnant going to the football game. And I went to homecoming pregnant. I wasn't going to go. And
Okay.
then the day of, I told my mom, I'm like, I have to go. So I went
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
homecoming
Yeah.
pregnant.
Was Cameron's your kid's dad, were they was he in school with you?
He dropped out before we got pregnant and he was
Okay.
working. So
Okay.
he worked nights and then he would come right after work and come get Cameron and then I would go to school. So we
Okay.
made it work.
Okay. And then you graduated and then you had Riley. You got pregnant with Riley.
I graduated, I started college at Baker. I was working. At that time I was 17 when I had Cameron and then when I was 18 I left home because my mom was trying to take over and take control of Cameron and I wasn't letting that happen. I'm like, this is my baby.
Yeah.
Um, which made it very hard on my mom and I's relationship. Lessons
Sure.
learned. I went and moved in with his dad and his family at that time. That didn't last long. Moved in with my aunt and uncle. They took me and Cameron in. And then I was going to school and I was working, and his dad really wasn't helping. So I quit going to school, which now I regret, but I had to work and take care
Yeah.
of him.
Right.
So that's what I did. And then we ended up working it out. Me and his dad ended up working out. We got back together and I had Riley at 21. I was a young mom of two now.
Right. Girl, I don't know
Yeah,
how
what
you
was
did
I
it.
thinking? I don't know how I did it. I don't know. We moved around a lot, which
Okay.
is it was hard. I tell my kids now, I'm like, it's embarrassing how much I let. I say a lot of things I was young and dumb. I feel like I went into so many things so blind. I was making it harder for myself. So we had Riley and then we split again. Now I had two kids. I move into an apartment. Me and my sister get an apartment. 2 kids, working all the time. My sister decides to move out of state with her boyfriend. I run back to him because it was like my comfort.
For sure. Absolutely.
But I got Lily out of it, so it wasn't a huge mistake. So now I'm 24 with 3 kids. And I remember telling his mom when we were pregnant with Lily, and she said we were playing house, and it hurt my heart.
Oh,
I
for
was like,
sure.
wow, how could she say that? Now looking back, she was so right. I was like hurt by it, but we were. We thought it was going to be easy, and
Right.
by no means was it easy.
And I think too with uh, today with the social media and the pregnant and 16 shows or whatever those are called, I think it is glorifying the a teenage mom lifestyle that's not realistic. I mean, of course,
No.
I didn't live that life, so I don't have the experience, but they do see it as fun and oh, you get a little something to play with and dress it up. And
Yeah,
they don't, but those people are making money also. They don't have to do any other job but to film them being a parent. And
right.
so I think, with society and things like that, it's showing such the wrong, giving the kids such a wrong impression
I
of
watched
of
Teen
that.
Mom, I think, because I related, so I watched it.
Sure.
But looking at it and them glorifying it and they've made so much money I'm like, that is not the way that it is. It just was not that way. I struggled. I
Yeah.
struggled so bad for so many years.
When was it kind of obvious that it wasn't going to be the two of you together anymore? Because you
We
never got married, correct? You never got married?
I did. We
Oh,
got
you did
married.
get married. Okay.
We did get married. So we had Lily. We were living out in Leonard, which is just north of Lake Romeo.
Okay.
Um,
Out by me.
yeah, we were living out there and I had no family around and we ended up moving back this way. You came into our lives actually at that time.
Yes.
So we came back this way to be around family. We were in a house and we were getting evicted. My childhood home that my mom still owned, she had rented it out and that opened up. So she said, move back home. So me and the
That was
kids,
meant to be.
it was. So I looked at him and I said, I'm going back home. Either you come with us or you don't. I have to do this for my kids.
Mhm.
So we moved back home. We got married. 6 months into our marriage, we're arguing all the time. I'm not sure what's going on. And I'm like, something has changed. So I kicked him out. I was like, I can't do this anymore. It was terrible. Money, we had no money. It was so rough. Kicked him out. I had my dad come over, change locks. And I had already, like I had said so many times, like I was going to leave him. But I was so scared too because I wanted my kids to have that life. I didn't have that life. I didn't have my parents in the same house, and I wanted that so bad for them. I finally had him leave, and it took everything in me to call my dad and ask him to come and change the locks. I did. So he couldn't get back in the house. He wrote me a note and put it in the front door, and he told me that he had a pill problem.
Oh,
So here I am, 6 months. I've been with him for 12 years, on and off, since I was a girl. Tried to help him. You can't make somebody do something that they don't want to do. We split, and that was it. I knew that I wasn't going back. And when we had split before, things that happened, I wouldn't tell people my story. And I finally started telling people, like, this is what I've been going through.
mhm.
Not only strangers, his family. I hid it from everybody. My family. My sister was probably the only one that knew what I had gone through. Um, so now we're living in my childhood home, which is at 8.5 in Van Dyke. I'm driving the kids back and forth to school,
Mhm.
working 2 jobs. We were doing it. He was
I
actually being a dad. He was taking them. He was being a better dad than he had ever been. So I was like, okay, like maybe this is what needed to happen.
Yeah, I remember I remember in and out, right? Like
Hmm.
he was there, then not there, right?
Yeah.
Just to give everybody a little background, I was Cameron's teacher, so that's how I know you. Is all three of
Hmm.
your kids went through my school, and I was his teacher during elementary. So that's a little background on how I know you. So I do know some of your background story, but of course not the
The
details.
depths. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And I was so like, I didn't want the kids to tell anybody at school and, just what
Mhm.
happens at home stays at home, and I
Sure.
kind of just try to pick up and move on as if nothing happened. That year, a lot had happened. My mom and stepdad had split up. Then me and their dad split up, and then his parents split up, all within the same year.
Wow.
So the kids were going through a lot. And I just try to pick up and keep going and keep them happy and focused on what was important. That's what we did. He was being a good dad. We, through the divorce, he wanted to do 50-50. So we were working on it, and the kids were Lily was 6, Riley was 9, Cameron was 12 when we filed for divorce. That was when the divorce was final at those ages. So I talked to the kids, is this what you want? Do you want to be with dad half the time and with me? And they did. That's what they wanted. So I agreed to it reluctantly. I was
Mhm.
very hesitant, but I agreed to it. I'm like, okay, he's being a dad. That's all I want. I want them to have a relationship with him. I let it happen. The divorce got finalized, and then that was November. In June, the last day of school, June 13th, I'll never forget. I was at work and he texted me and said, you win. And I'm like, I win what? I'm done arguing with you. Which we never even seen each other. He would drop them off at school. I would pick them up. We never communicated. There was no, I don't know what happened. I did take him to court because he didn't have a driver's license. So I did take him to court that he couldn't drive with them, that he had to have someone licensed to pick them up and drop them off. So I think he just was upset with me. And I thought for a while he was gonna change his mind. So his mom was amazing. I couldn't be more thankful that she stepped up, and the weekends he was supposed to have them, she took them. So I could continue to work and keep my work schedule. And I
There's
know.
too many situations that I hear about, which is I don't understand it in my own brain, but when people separate, or even if there is someone who doesn't hold their end of the bargain or hold their load, their family is kind of the same way, or they
Mhm.
just drop off too. And I'm thinking, how could you possibly not see those grandkids anymore? I never understand, and it happens
I'm
so much.
I hear about it so much, and I'm like, I
Yes,
don't understand. If my
I
kids
don't
were to have
either.
a baby, there's no way I could walk away or let them walk
Right?
away. So I'm blessed by having his family they didn't at first. His mom, I had to let him have his mom. We always had a good relationship, so for a year, I did take a step back and let him try to have his family.
Mm,
If they're not in my life, I understand. But once he started doing the same things to everybody, they
right.
all understood why I made the decision I did. His mom was always so good to the kids. I couldn't be more thankful. Yeah.
Family support is everything, really.
My mom has always been there, and his mom has always been there for the kids. Without a doubt, I could always count on them. I said we didn't live by the school. I would drop them off in the morning. I spent a lot of time in parking lots when they were in high school, middle school, elementary.
Yes, I remember.
So it was so hard. So I would waste so much time in parking lots, and then I would leave right from there and I would go to work. And then I would have to have my stepmom would pick them up some days from school, or whoever that would step in to help me get them home, they would do it for me. And I'm like, it takes a village. It really does.
It
That's
truly does.
it. As much as I say that I raise them and their morals and the way that they are has been on me, but I've had a lot of help. My
Yeah.
sister, when they were in school, my sister and brother-in-law would buy their school supplies when we first split. Like, I couldn't have done what I did if it wasn't for everybody stepping in and helping me. So,
I was just talking to my mom actually before, and she asked, of course, what podcast I was doing, and then I told her who I was talking to, and then I was telling her about the kids, and I said, the thing is that She she was young. I know she was young. I didn't remember how young you were. I said, but she did it when she was young. All 3 kids were always so clean, and
mm,
you know what I mean? They were respectful. They were so nice. They were none of them were behavior problems. And it's like, so I just want to have her on because that's remarkable. And so, you absolutely, even if you have support in some issue, I mean, that is all stems from that says a lot about you. That's
Yeah.
the type of person that you are, your children, all 3 of them, with the rough start that they had.
Yeah, I've just always kept them my main focus. They've always been at the forefront. I put myself on the back burner on so many things, but being a young mom, you know, I think you learn that so quickly that, we wake up in the middle of the night to feed them and you don't get to go to the bathroom or brush your teeth or do anything. You're just like, I have to take care of this baby, and that's just been my whole life goal is just making sure they're good.
And I
So,
when you're young, I think it's gotta be a conscious decision that and I would think that a lot of people don't always put that first because they still wanna go to that high school party or that football game or things like that, and I think that's the part that these kids don't realize is that, no, I mean, you may be able to go every once in a while, but that is
you
no
miss out.
longer. Yeah, that
Yeah.
is no longer an option because you've got to make that a priority.
Yeah. And there was so many things I did miss out on. My mom was great. She would let me
Yeah.
leave Cameron at any time,
Sure, sure.
but I didn't want to.
Right.
I didn't want to. I wanted to be with him, and that was just my focus from the time that I was pregnant and I knew that this was my life. I'm like,
Mm.
this is my baby. I can't wait for him just to be here and love him, and I couldn't wait to see what he looked like. And
Oh, and they didn't come any cuter. My
thank
goodness.
you.
I could still see him as I mean, when I think of him, I still think of little
Little
kid.
Cameron.
Yes.
Yeah.
I see pictures of him now and I'm thinking that is not him.
I know. I look at him, I'm like, how?
Yes.
How? Now he's almost 22 next
That's
month.
Yeah, that's ridiculous
I know.
because that just makes me feel much gosh. So how many years ago did I even have him? That's so many. That makes me feel even older than I am. To think I'm getting up close to retirement.
I'm gonna turn 40 next year, so all my kids will be pretty much grown, which is
Yep.
crazy, and I have a whole nother life to live. And
Yeah, yeah, and that is the thing is that you had them young, so you're still gonna be young when they leave the house. So you can easily have a whole nother lifetime of something different if you choose.
yeah, whatever way they go, I know I'm gonna follow. So I don't think they're gonna
Right.
stay
Go.
in Michigan forever, but we'll see. We'll see.
When did Chris come into your life?
Chris, I knew him. He grew up down the street from me from childhood, so I knew him, but we hadn't seen each other in a long time, and I bumped into his brothers out one day. We connected on Facebook. He just started hanging out. We would hang out together when I didn't have the kids. We would like go out to the bar and, you know, just go and hang out. So we were friends. He started coming over and helping me with the kids because he knew that I was working late and the kids would be home. So he would get off work and go hang out with the kids, which I was so thankful that I
Sure.
had someone there with them.
And a
Um,
male figure. I mean, it's nice to have
and
that.
they loved him coming over. He would play silly games with them and entertain them, So he loved being with them, and it made me fall for him because I'm like, he's so good to my kid. A year into him just hanging out and helping me and being friends, we decided to, start dating. It was a year after my divorce that I took a year off from just everything
Right.
and focused on me and the kids. And then he came into our lives and he's been here ever since, which I'm
Oh, so
thankful.
he's been with you that long. That's
Hmm.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Been a big part of their life.
I don't think I
And
remember. I don't recall. I mean, I feel like I recall him from Facebook only. You know what I mean? Which
yeah,
maybe he came
he,
into school and I just don't remember.
I don't think he ever came to like any of the school functions. He
Okay.
kind of was scared of them at first. He
Okay.
would
Well, sure.
be
Yeah.
at the house and he would get overwhelmed. If
Sure.
I'm
Easy to
like,
do.
I'm like, they're not going nowhere. So either you get used to them or you leave because they're a lot, but they're
Mhm.
gonna be here forever. So he just came from no kids.
Right.
He had a girlfriend previously that had two kids, but they would just come over on the weekend and leave.
Mhm.
My kids were there all the time. They never
Right.
left. So he was overwhelmed at first, but he had taken Lily to school a couple times, probably like pick up, drop off, that you
Yeah.
never
I wouldn't have
had
seen.
seen them,
Mhm.
seen. So, yeah, but he's been around for a long time. I don't know why.
Well, I'm sure I know why. You're a woman, so again, the way your kids have, the way your kids are speaks volumes of the kind of person that you are. So, do you find that, I mean, were you tougher on them? Because although if Chris was in the picture for this many years, did they see him as the father role?
I set boundaries, and it now I'm learning has
Yes.
come back to bite me.
Oh, no kidding.
Because
Please
I set
tell.
boundaries when they were younger that I'm mom, I'm dad. Dad's not in the picture. You're not going to try to step in and play this role. So I'm going to take care of the kids. Don't worry about them. If I need your help, I'll ask. But you're not going to discipline them. You're not going to don't worry about their grades. So I got it. So I set that in place from the beginning. We just played our roles. We were a couple. He was there to come and hang out and have fun, and I didn't let him discipline them or set boundaries. And now, as they're older, they don't ever look to him, which
Oh, gotcha.
makes me sad because he's here,
Right.
but they look at him like he's here for you, mom. He's
You.
not here for us.
Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting because I think that that is very difficult when, you do come in, and because I would have had hard time letting someone discipline my kids.
Yeah,
That would have been,
it's
I don't think I would have.
Mama Bear
I've
comes
always,
out.
yeah, yeah, because I've always been the disciplinarian, even
Yeah.
when I was married and even being divorced. They don't do something right over there, he calls me. And so, so I've always been both, and so
Yeah.
having someone come in and doing that would be very, very difficult for me. I don't think I could do it.
No,
But I could,
we had arguments because he would try
oh, I could
to
understand.
put Riley as the middle child. So he's always been the one that, and I felt like, I'm like, you're just nitpicking him. Leave him alone. He's my baby. Like, no, you're not doing that. So it was arguments. We had fights over it. And I said, at one point, he said, okay, I'm just not going to do it then.
Yeah, that's difficult because that's got to be difficult on him too.
It is. It makes it very hard on our relationship, but it's things that we're working through, and
Yeah.
he's been here. So,
And you know what? They may, as since they're getting older, they may rely on him, and it might be a different relationship. It would be not, I'm sure they see him as a father figure in their
yeah.
life, but maybe it'll be more on, a leaning on him because they know they can count on him. Not so
Yeah.
much that they're needing
I
advice.
know things will change as they get older and they see things
Absolutely.
differently, but they just look
Right.
at me for everything.
Yeah,
And I've made it that way.
sure.
I feel like I overly compensate, and I'm aware of this, and it's a very bad trait of mine, but I try to overly compensate because their dad's not around.
Right.
So I feel like because I chose this man that decided to walk away from you, I have to fill that void.
Yeah, and I think even people who are get a divorce, there's that period of at least in my experience, there's that period of time where there's that divorce guilt, where you
Mhm.
try to give them more than they need because you feel guilty for breaking up the home or
Right.
things like that, which is definitely a real thing. I see a lot of people doing that. They're like buying all whatever they can buy just to make them happy, and it's like you don't have to do
That's not
that.
what's
No, you don't have to do
yeah.
that. That's not gonna make them it's not gonna make them feel better, if you have a broken home. But does so they have no contact with their dad at all?
So when he walked away, I spent a year or longer lying to them because I really thought he was gonna come back. I really did. I told him like dad was working out of town and dad's sick or whatever I came up with at that time. I couldn't do it anymore. I just had to. Chris actually said, you have to stop lying to them. You have to
Yeah.
be honest because in the end, it was coming back on me. I finally told them. It was hard to tell them. And then their dad ended up having another baby.
Oh, okay.
So when I told them, I was like, okay, from this point forward, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I'm going to keep it open and honest. If you have any questions, you can come to me. If you want to reach out to him, I changed Cameron's phone number because he was the only one that had a phone at the time. So I changed his phone number because I felt like his dad needed to go through me if he wanted to communicate with them. I had his phone number. I said, if you guys want to reach out to him, you always can. Like it's
Mm.
on, it's open. They never wanted to. Lily had taken my phone once and texted him, and I was upset at first, but then I'm like, she misses him. She was little, but he never reached back out to come and see them. I mean, I can't even imagine all of these years, almost 10 years, where he has not heard their voice.
Mm.
He has
Mm.
not seen their face. Like, I couldn't imagine. So he doesn't live far from us. He went on to have three more children, two boys and a girl. Lily, a couple years ago, was struggling with that. She went to therapy and worked through it on her own, which I'm proud of her. She came to me and just said, like, I feel like I need to talk to somebody.
Yeah. God, I'm getting teary-eyed.
We were in Target. It was she just told me because I
Yep.
always told them, like, come to
Hmm.
me if you have anything that is heavy on you, come to me because
Yeah.
I'm gonna be here to help you through it. I put her in therapy and we worked through it. And a couple years ago, I had a CPS worker come to my door
Oh.
because of their dad in a case that
Oh.
was opened against his new family that they had found out that he had three more children and that they had to talk to all of them to close the case. So I basically told her, like, there's nothing that they have, no information. He hasn't seen him in years. So when we had court, because we do go to court for child support still, so I see him through
I was just gonna
Zoom
say, is he? That's totally not our business, but I was gonna ask you that. Has he been paying child support at least?
when he's made to.
Oh Lord.
Um, so when we had child support, the case, I said to him, like, through the Zoom, like, I don't appreciate CPS knocking on my door. I did everything I possibly could to keep them away
Absolutely
from
not.
our house. He called me after that court that we got to court. My phone was ringing, and I looking at it like, do I answer this? I haven't talked to this man in years. I don't even know what I'm gonna say. So I answered, and I just told him he has missed out on amazing kids, amazing kids. Because I was bitter. I was very bitter for a long time. But then I became thankful
Hmm.
that I had every day, every holiday, every birthday. I didn't have
Yes.
to share them.
Oh,
So,
sad.
um, I became thankful. So I talked to him and he said he wanted to see the kids and he had let it go for so long that he didn't know how to fix it.
Sure.
And I knew that was the case. I sat on it for a little bit because I didn't know if I wanted to bring it up to them or not. But I said, I'm going to be open and honest with them. So I sat them all down. And at this time, Cameron was 19.
Hmm.
So I'm like, if he wanted to talk to you, he would have reached out to you. I'm
Right.
like, I think it's a little late for that. So I sat them all down and I told them and I gave them the option. Cameron instantly was like, nope, I'm good. Riley said that he would think about it. And Lily, she just cried. But in the end, they all decided that at this time they didn't want to talk to him.
Mm.
But the door is always open if they decide to. I don't know how I will handle that if that time comes, but that's up to them.
Yeah, I think it hits a little closer to home, but I feel it a little bit more also because my mom's mom just left her and my grandpa, and at the time, her brother who had severe cerebral palsy,
Mm,
and she just didn't come back. And so my mom was little, and so she spent so much time waiting for her mom to come back, and she never did. She went on to have a completely different family, and
mhm.
so, same type of things. It's like if she would only should have only known what a
What she missed?
what a great person my mom turned out to be, and
Yeah.
missing out on us as her grandkids. I mean, if she only knew what she's missing. I mean, it was
That's where I just don't get it. I will never understand. And
no.
it hits me really hard when I have to do a lot of things on my own because, like sports and stuff, Chris isn't a sports person. So he's come to a few, but for the most I thankfully have my mom and her husband that join me at all of their sporting events, and I couldn't be more thankful for that because I'm like I'm alone out here,
Right.
but they know that I am their biggest cheerleader and I'm always going to be
Mhm.
there.
Yep.
So I just don't know how people can walk away from their children and
No.
never look back. I could never. I know you could never.
No. But then I also think about the same thing I said earlier. How did my mom's family just say, "Okay, we're just not going to see Anita and Ricky anymore." Okay.
Yeah, I
Uh, How is that possible? I don't- that makes no
I'm blessed with the fact that his dad don't have anything to do with any of his family. To walk away from your mom, he didn't come to his grandma's funeral. I'm like, I don't understand that. I
no.
just don't. I never will. But I know he's painted his picture with his new family, and that's okay. I've accepted it. If I'm the bad guy, then I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
That's I've done what I had to do for my kids and keeping them safe and making sure that they have a good life. Because in the end, that's what it's about. I couldn't imagine like, he's never gonna meet their babies.
Right.
I can't even understand that. But
Do you think your parenting views changed from Cameron to Lily? Cameron, you were a teen. So do you see any immediate differences that you can think back and think that there was any differences in your parenting style from one to the other?
I think I let Cameron get away with too much.
You do. Well, yeah, but
Because I
probably
was young.
yeah, you were
I wasn't like
yourself.
thinking in depth of like as he was younger, he did a lot of sleepovers and he was a boy, so I feel like things were different. So I feel like
Agree. Yep,
I let the boys do a lot of things that I wouldn't let Lily do. And I always said like I'm not gonna be that mom to where the daughter is different, but I
yeah.
am.
So am I. Lainey will say, "Well, what do you
So
mean Michael could, but I couldn't?" I'm like, "It's just the way it is."
yeah, I don't let like Lily's had a sleepover at two friends' house in her whole life. So where Cameron could sleep over anybody's house. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
And not even
But
talk to the mom. Like, "No, go right ahead."
I've always like made sure like walk up and say he's
Sure.
okay,
Right, right, right,
but with Lily, I'm just like, no, you're not sitting over there. And she's like, why? The boys can do it. Nope,
right.
not happening.
Sorry.
But I've always been hard on them when it comes to school and making sure their grades were good and making sure they were and I always with my kids making sure they were clean and had the clothes that they had
Always.
because it's a reflection of me as a
Right.
mom. And my mom taught me that, you as a parent, your kids are a reflection of you. I could never let them go to school looking a hot mess.
Yeah,
But when
I
they're
still don't think that anyone has ever come to school as well put together as Lily. I am not kidding you. That girl's hair was always, I mean, just perfect and beautiful. I mean, you could just
thank you.
tell that she was so well taken care of. I
I've
could,
created a monster though
oh,
because
I don't doubt that. I see your posts, girl. I know.
she's
But
so particular, but she's extra and
uh,
people pick on her for that, but it's just who she is.
yep, yep.
When their dad had them for that period of time and we were going back and forth, Riley tells me now, like, it was so embarrassing because I would send them clothes all the time, but he would never send them back to me. So I got to a point where I'm like, I'm not sending any more clothes. So he would take them in the morning on the way to school and go to Meyer and buy them an outfit for the day and send them to school. And Riley said one time that he got him like a really fancy outfit that he lied to his classmates and told them it was Cameron's birthday. It's my brother's birthday. So he was so embarrassed. And I'm like, that's I feel so bad. But
I God, I
at the
wish I
time,
remembered that.
I didn't know. I'm
Oh
like,
my
I didn't
goodness.
know that that was going on. There was a lot that they kept from me because they wanted to see dad. And
Sure.
I feel like it's made them better people because they appreciate now, everything that they have and everything that we've worked for.
Yeah.
So, but he tells me that, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, Riley, why did you not say that?
Absolutely, that's hilarious. God, I wish I would remember that if I even never knew it.
He was probably wearing an all fancy outfit, and he's like, "It's my brother's birthday." You would say, "No, it's not."
And then Riley is so gosh darn tall. I mean, you have Lily who's little, and then you've got Riley, and Cameron's just of normal height, right?
Yeah, he's
Mhm.
like the same body type as his dad, Cameron is. But
And then
my
Riley,
grandpa and their dad's grandpa were both like 6'3", 6'4",
okay.
and Riley got that gene. He's
And he got the dark
freaking
hair. You've got two
yeah.
blonde blue eyes, and then you've got, although Riley's got real blue eyes, right?
Riley has like hazel.
Okay. I don't
Cameron has
got
Cameron
the
has very blue
Cameron's
eyes.
got very blue eyes, yeah. But
Yeah.
Lily does too, right? Or hers are
No.
more hazily.
Yeah, they're like green.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all it's a mixture.
Yeah.
I think Cameron and Lily look more alike,
Mhm.
and Riley's my oddball because he
Yes.
looks a lot like his dad's side of the family. But they're all so
Dark
cute.
hair. They are so cute. That's what I said. I mean, I still think of your family so very fondly, forever. Well, forever.
It's you too. I love that I can follow you and keep up with your life
Yeah.
because you were such a big part in our village too, because you helped Cameron.
Thank you. I appreciate
Like
that.
he grew so much in the time with you. And I just feel like he thrives and he learns so much from the way you taught and the tricks that you taught him and because he was behind and I didn't even know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
When we came to you, you're like, okay, he's not where he needs to be, but he is going to be my star student and we're going to
Mhm.
work on this.
Yep.
So I appreciate you.
Well, thank you. That means so much. You're making me
And
cry
little Lily,
today.
she is going to be a teacher. That's
Oh,
her goal.
yay. Good.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
tell her to be a special ed teacher. She can come student teach with me.
She would love
Although,
that.
although let's hope I'm retired by then.
Yeah, she wants to be a teacher, so I love it.
Amazing.
And I'm just supporting her in that because she lights up around kids. Like her, you can just see it. And I'm like, that's what you were meant to do.
You've got to, to be a teacher in general, you obviously have to have a love for children. I mean,
Mm.
there's different levels of that because you could be a great teacher, but you're not a good elementary teacher because you're more high school or secondary level. So you've got to have the heart for it. And then for special ed, I also feel it's a completely different type of person to be a special ed teacher.
Oh, it's a special person for sure.
and
It
they
is.
and because the wrong person in special ed could be detrimental, if in my
Oh
opinion.
yeah,
You know,
definitely.
so, um,
You just have to have that heart. You have to have, and you
absolutely.
have, like, I felt something with you as soon as I think the first time that we had spoke was on the phone.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, she is just so sweet and she's gonna help Cameron and he's gonna be okay. And because I remember when he first, I found out that he had a learning disability, I left the school just crying, like, what did I do wrong? Because we
Sure.
always worked like on flashcards and we always worked together. There was never a time that we weren't just learning
Right.
or, practicing together. And it just took him so much longer. And I didn't get it. I was young and I'm a first time mom. And I'm like, what did I do wrong? But it was nothing I did wrong. It was just
No,
him.
no.
It's just
Yes,
him.
that's
But
right.
he's
That's
so good now. He does so good. So
good. That's amazing.
yeah.
I always, and he used to come visit me every, for a couple years afterwards, and I always loved that. It's always a highlight.
And then COVID and
And then nothing. Yeah, no,
yeah,
it's COVID changed so much,
a
but
lot of things.
now he's a big full-grown adult. So,
Oh, he is.
so last question that I really want to ask you is
Yeah.
what advice would you give a teen mom right now who's sitting here listening to this pregnant and probably not feeling the best?
That put your baby first, always. And it's gonna be hard, but it's gonna be worth it. And there's definitely light at the end of the tunnel. It doesn't seem like it. The days are long. It goes by so fast. So fast. I look back and I'm like we said, I don't know how I did it. You keep them at your main focus. Lean on your family. Lean on any friends that want to be there. You'll get through it.
Yeah.
when you look back, you're gonna just reflect and just be so thankful that you had that time with them. And my heart, like I look at them and I'm just like my heart is so full, you
Sure.
know. It's not easy. It's not gonna be easy, but it'll be
It's
worth
not
it.
easy when you're an adult, let alone when
Yeah.
you're a child trying to navigate your own growing up.
Yeah.
Your
Me and Cameron grew up together.
Yeah.
You know, I am who I am because of him. It was a hard, hard road, but we made it.
Yeah, you certainly did. They're
Yeah.
amazing kids. I know I tell you that every chance I get, but they
Thank
truly
you.
are, and you should be, proud of your own self.
It's
I just want to thank Tiffany for joining me. What a true testament of a parent's love for her children. And as always, do better, expect better, be better, and come back and join me next time on Laugh Through It All. And don't forget to check out my Shopify where you can buy some merch.